Death and Dementia video 19. Problem solving. If you guys are either in the same place that we are right now or you're kind of getting toward that place, you're probably understanding that every single day there's a series of problems to solve. And it's not easy to do when you really don't understand what two people, for us, it's two people with dementia, want from time to time. And it's a whole bucket of a freaking mess that is laid on you all the time. And so one of the things that my brother and I are, as I mentioned before, best friends. We get along perfectly, and so it's real easy to deal with him. And we're on the same page that there are expenses that insurance covers, which is fine. Insurance covers it, and then there are out-of-pocket expenses that we have to cover as well. And we do have access to the money from mom and dad's house, but at the same time, we're going to need that down the road when insurance runs out. And so, but our way of thinking is that if there's a chance it's going to make mom and dad happy, or it's going to make their days a little bit easier, and toward the end of their life, then we go for it. So dad had to go to memory care, as I mentioned before, and with that comes a lot of decisions to make. One, the decision to move him was ultimately my brother's and my decision. With when you have power of attorney, it comes down to you guys, and the facility can make the recommendations, but ultimately you have to make the decision. And it was the right thing to do, as horrible as it is. But then you move over there, and so you have, instead of having the one apartment for the two of them, now you have two apartments. And the way the pricing worked, some of the places we went to, you have the base price, between $6,000 and $9,000 for most of the places that we looked at per month, and then everything else is an addition. They need their sugar checked. That's an addition. They need someone to take them out to go on a walk. That's something else. They need someone to manage their pills. That's another addition of money each month. And that's what got us to about $13,000 a month. And insurance covers, well, up until now, has been covering about 10,000 of that, and it's going to hopefully get better because mom's insurance should be kicking in pretty soon. But then there's out-of-pocket expenses that insurance doesn't cover. So when dad had to move to memory care, you want him to be comfortable. You don't really understand what he's going to do. He's probably not going to turn the TV on himself. And I mentioned the Jubilee that we got for their first apartment. It's working great so far. I just called their help desk because I'm not tech savvy, and they were great to work with. So I'll update you more as we get that going. But we're probably gonna get one for dad's new apartment too, and that's an out-of-pocket expense. And we got him a real nice bed, a lazy boy chair, and a TV, and all those things. And decision, it's out-of-pocket money, but it's his money. It's gonna make him feel better during the day. And kind of the reason I bring this up is I'm sure you know people out there that are kind of dicks when it comes to these things, and the way my brother and I look at it, it's their money. It should be used to make their life better while they're here. I know people, and I've seen some of the decisions that they make, which lead me to believe, there's no other way to really put it, they're looking out for inheritance. And that's just an absolute shitty thing to do. And even if we get the TV for dad and he never watches it, at least we tried, and we're not being assholes, and we're trying to be nice and give him a good life for the best he can get at the end of his life. And so that's kind of our mindset when we started going into this and thinking about all the different little things, other decisions that need to be made. My brother, he's mid-50s, he's fucking nuts, but he's got very young kids, and so I wouldn't do it at his age, but he did, and they're great kids. And he's been bringing them to see mom and dad regularly, but now it's kind of to the point that mom, it might be fun for her to see them, but her emotions kind of go between confused and sad and some angry. There's really not a whole lot of joy, unfortunately. And to bring him to see Dad, he wouldn't know who they are. He really doesn't know who we are, for the most part. And so my brother's gonna have to make a decision. Do you want to expose your kids to their grandparents, and you also want the grandparents to see the kids, but not sure what he's going to decide at this point, because we've come this far, unfortunately, with it. So because we were fortunate enough to get Mom and Dad into assisted living before their mind really went, they were able to get a routine going. They got to know a lot of people around there. They go on their walks, they eat at certain times, and things like that. And I think the routine really helped them. But now the separation has just broken that routine, and unfortunately, they're probably at the point where you're not going to be able to get them into a new routine, because everything is scary now, and it's just really hard to move them forward at this point. They miss each other, or they don't remember each other and don't know why they're there, and you don't have any consistency to really deal with to try to get a routine going on. So having experienced this, for several years now, and watching kind of how it slowly goes and then sharply goes, my opinion, not an expert opinion, I think stress has a lot to do with it. And they really went downhill when our older brother died. That went quick. And now this separation of the two of them, it's ridiculous how fast they're changing for the worse from day to day. And when Mom and Dad were first separated, like I think I mentioned before, Mom didn't know who he was the next day. Now she kind of does, and that goes back and forth. So anything to take stress out of their lives, and to take stress out of your life too, to prevent yourself from getting to where we are in this. Stress is a killer, and so do whatever you can to make them happy and to make you happy. I'll update a little bit more, especially as we get the Jubilee running, hopefully within the next few days. Until then, God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America. Thanks for watching. I'm hoping these videos are going to help somebody out there. Please look at the attachments to the videos. I've attached just the websites of some of the people who I speak to, and I've also attached my Amazon Associates links to some of the products that we've used for Mom and Dad, and some other things that look like they would be helpful for people in similar situations. God bless.